there's so much stuff on my table in front of me. I'm losing my mind. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. I hope you really enjoyed your holidays and had a really nice break. I went to the UK to visit my family and friends, and then I went over to Dubai and I spent a couple of days there, met a friend of mine, and then I came back here and slept for about a week. The jet lag has been really bad and I'm just about recovered from it. I'm ready to get back into the swing of things and get moving. In today's video I'm going to be sharing some of my favorites of 2018, and I have a lot of favorites. I've got all my notes here in front of me. You can see it's double-sided, so we have a lot to talk about. So grab yourself a cup of tea. It's going to be a long video. I just wanted to mention that not all these products were launched in 2018. Some were launched before, or like I don't know when they were launched, but it's just the ones that I've been loving and using a lot of. Just bear that in mind. Generally when products are launched, it takes me a long time to research and decide if I actually want to buy them, so I don't just impulse buy. So that's why a lot of them are from before 2018. Before I start, if you haven't subscribed already, please click the button below and also click the notification bell next to it so you're notified when I am uploading a new video, and we'll jump straight into the first product. The order that I'm going to show you the products are the way that I personally do my makeup, which is skin prep, base, eyes, lips, and I think that's it. I've even got setting sprays in this one because I've been using a lot of that this year. So let's start with skin prep. You're not going to be surprised about the first one because I use it in the majority of my videos on Instagram. I've used it in a lot of videos on YouTube as well since I've got this product, and that is the Too Faced Hangover 3-in-1 Replenishing Primer and Setting Spray. I use this more as a primer or a skin prep item because I like the way that it hydrates my skin before I put makeup on, and when I do put makeup on, especially foundations, and I find that they're a bit dry for my skin, I like to put this on top of the foundation and just get that dewiness back into the foundation. I feel like because this is a setting spray as well, it makes my makeup last so long when I use it before and in the middle of my makeup. It's just such a nice spray. It's got coconut water in it and it's got some really good ingredients which are good for your skin. I believe it has hyaluronic acid in it. It took me a while to get this product because I wasn't sure if it was just gimmicky, but I have really enjoyed using this. It's lasted me a really long time considering how much I use this. It just gives your skin a really nice, beautiful dewy look, and that's my personal preference. If you like more matte looks, then maybe you might want to just apply a tiny bit of this, but for dewy foundation looks I always go in with this. The next two products I don't really use on camera that much unless I'm doing a get ready with me, but I generally use these on clients and when I know that I need my makeup to last from like 6 p.m. till 5 a.m. so destination weddings, Indian weddings. And the first one I'm going to talk about is Water Balm. I love this product. This company is based out of Chicago and I believe they've only got one location where they ship products out of, so if you're outside the US it might be really expensive for you to get hold of this stuff, but it's really good. It's made by a woman called Sonia Roselli and she is a really good makeup artist in Chicago. She worked closely with some really top makeup artists to produce the perfect skin prep for when doing clients, and this is everything that I could have dreamt of. When I put it onto my skin or when I put it onto my client's skin, it just soaks up right into the skin and it just gives a really nice natural hydrated look rather than just sitting on top of the skin. And I feel like that's the problem I have with a lot of primers, and which is why I don't really like using primers, is because I feel like it doesn't soak in to my skin as well as it should do, but this goes all the way in and it just feels so good. I put it on my lips, I put it all over. I can't say enough good things about this. I'll definitely be repurchasing this one, and she has come out with some other products as well. I know she's got the Sex Appeal, which I use as an exfoliator. She's got something called a water oil and something called a water elixir, I believe. I've ordered them, so when they come through I'll show you them. They are supposed to be really nice complementary products to this one. What I love about products like this is not only does it come in a jar, you've got a little spatula, so it's a really clean way of using the product. You're not always dipping your finger in there, which is something that I don't like. Another skin prep item that I use a lot, especially on clients and when I need my makeup to last a long time, I use this Illamasqua Hydra Veil, I believe it's called. Yeah, it's basically a similar kind of concept to the Water Balm, but the Water Balm is a bit thinner and a bit more watery, whereas this is a bit more of a jelly-like formula. Also has a spatula, which I love. I don't know if you can see it though. Basically like a little jelly formula, and what this does, it basically sticks to your face almost, but not in a gross gross way. It almost acts like a super glue. So when you put foundation on and when you put other things on top, it kind of blends it into your skin really nicely. And I feel like my makeup also stays on really nicely with this one. I don't know if it's because I'm slightly dehydrated sometimes, so these two products together give me enough hydration so that makeup doesn't cake up on my face and look dry. But I've gone through about 5 of these already. They're not cheap, but they're so good. Whenever I order stuff online, or even if I'm going to a store, I'm always trying out new primers because everyone loves primers and I really don't enjoy using them, and I haven't found one that I can use on a day-to-day basis, so I just use a moisturizer, then I use my sun cream, and that's it for my skin prep on a day-to-day basis. But when I need my makeup to look good in photos, when I'm out doing stuff that is important, I would use a combination of these products. Next, foundation. This was quite a tough one to do because I do have a few go-to ones, but the past year I've been trying out new foundations, so I've been going through so many different ones and just seeing how it looks on my skin, and I couldn't narrow it down, so I'll probably do a foundations favorite sometime in the future just so I can expand on all of them and tell you exactly why I like each one. But this has been my favorite since I bought it, and that is the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. I love this stuff. Like, this looks so good on my skin. It creates a really nice and natural finish to my skin. You can build it up to get a full coverage, and you can sheer it out to get a really light coverage, and it just gives you that really nice natural glowy skin look that is so pretty. I've been traveling to so many weddings with this one because I just feel like it gives me a really nice look, especially in photos. There's no flashback, there's no white cast or anything. It just looks like I'm naturally dewy and glowy. I feel like I can use this all year round as well because I use it in really warm climates when I go away, and I also used it when I was in New York about a year ago. It just made my skin look so good. I've got mine in 7.5. This has got like the perfect undertone for somebody of my skin color. It's got enough peach in there that it's going to color correct all my dark spots. It's not too orange where it makes you look orange. It's just a really good color. Every time somebody asks me about a dewy foundation, I will always recommend this one that I reach for on a day-to-day basis, and it kind of surprised me because I like it so much. It's a bit more neutral than I would normally go for, and I feel like I've really worked hard on my skincare. My skin has really improved, so I'm able to use something which doesn't have too much of that peachy undertone, even though I really like it because it looks so good in photos, it looks so good in person. This one I use on a day-to-day basis when I'm just running errands, or I just want to look a tiny bit put together but I don't want to look too done up, and that is the Maybelline Fit Me foundation. This is the original one, I believe. I do have the new one up there as a backup because I love it that much. It's just a really nice lightweight foundation to use on a day-to-day basis. I was really surprised I liked it because drugstore foundations for me are a tiny bit too pink or a tiny bit too neutral. They don't have the right undertone, they don't have enough of that warmth in there to not make me look grey, but this one is so good. Whenever someone asks me for a daytime foundation, I always recommend this one because I just love it that much. I think it gives you enough coverage. The color is really nice. I've got the shade 220. If I feel like on some days I need a tiny bit more color correction, then this will give me, but I want to use this foundation, I will go in with the color correcting liquid primer by NYX, and these two together just create a really nice combination, and I believe it's more affordable than just getting a high-end foundation. If you're looking for a drugstore foundation, I highly recommend you looking at this because it's so good. Another one that I've reached for a lot this year is the Makeup Forever HD foundation. It's probably not a surprise to you because I use it all the time. I use it in tutorials, I use it everywhere I go, and it's just such a nice color. It's got the warmth in there that you need, it's got those peachy tones, it's got the yellow tones to brighten. It's just such a good color. It works with so many mediums as well, so you can put an oil into it if you want to thin it out. It's buildable as well if you want a more full coverage. I never go for a full coverage, but I know this does work really nicely as a full coverage. This is the color Y405, and I just feel like it's the perfect color for someone of my skin tone. I generally wear this one when I'm going out to a kind of casual, kind of formal event, so like baby showers, bridal showers, big dinner parties. I'll most likely be reaching for this one because I know it looks good in photos, I know it looks good in person, and it's just such a nice foundation. I don't believe any of those three came out last year, but one that did come out last year and I really enjoyed using is the Born This Way foundation. This was a collaboration with Jackie Aina, Hair and Too Faced, and she created this shade Praline for girls who look like me. There's an area in medium tone foundations where they just throw a token golden shade, and then they've got a pink shade, and they've got a neutral shade, and it's just so that they can go from light to dark. There's no variety in those shades really, and Jackie really expanded the variety for darker shades, and she included a shade for people like me, and I'm just so grateful that she did, because I really liked the way that this foundation looked on my skin. But I think I was trying sand, and it was just a tiny bit too neutral, had a tiny bit too much pink in it for my liking, but this one has enough warmth in it, and it's so good. I love the way this looks on my skin. It says undetectable medium to full coverage foundation, and I feel like that's the perfect way to describe it. You can sheer it out for a light coverage. I usually use just half or one pump, and it covers my face really nicely, because I like to go with concealer in the areas that I need extra coverage. I think this has got hyaluronic acid in it. I can't remember, but there's something in here which makes your skin glow, and I can't remember what it is right now, but it's such a good foundation if you're looking for something that is new and just you want to try something out. I would highly recommend looking at this one. Next, concealer. So this is something that I use every day, especially when I'm going out and I'm meeting people. I might not use foundation all the time, but I'm definitely using concealer. The one that has been my favorite for years and years, and it's still a favorite of mine, is the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in NC42. This is probably one of my favorite concealers of all time, and that's not surprising because I keep one for myself and I keep one in my kit, and it goes everywhere with me. It's just got that perfect peachy undertone. It's got enough yellow in it. It's just the perfect color to color correct under my eyes and brighten that area up at the same time. When I use it, I get so many compliments on how nice I look, which is really nice. This is another one like the Makeup Forever HD foundation. It's really easy to manipulate, so I can add oils in there, or I can add it with a cream and I can sheer it out. And also you can apply this on powder. I know they say when you've applied powder on top of liquids, you shouldn't put liquids on top, but I find that this works so well, especially like when you've got an event in the morning and then you just want to touch up your concealer for the evening, but you don't want to mess up anything. This is going to work so good. You just apply it on top, you pat it in, and then you apply more powder on top, and it doesn't look cakey in the slightest. I used to wear this concealer to work, and then in the evening when I was going out with friends, I used to apply some of this on top, and I used to go and I used to look so fresh and pretty good, if I must say myself. I'm actually surprised at myself that I have other concealers in this category, because that's generally the one that always trumps everything else. This year we've got some new favorites. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Colourpop No Filter Concealer. I can't believe like my prayers were answered with this. I wanted a concealer which was easy to use, was peachy undertone, enough yellow in there for brightness, good for my skin tone, not too orangey where I look like an Oompa Loompa, and on top of all of that, affordable. This is $6 and it's so good. I know a lot of people complain that it dries down a tiny bit darker than it looks in here, which is fine because this is far too light for me. It's the color Golden, I believe. Golden 40 is this one, but this is the old one. I believe the new one is medium 32 or something. This concealer is so good. If you want to use a concealer and you don't want to spend the money on the MAC Pro Longwear, I would highly recommend checking this one out. It's got a really nice range of colors from light to medium to dark. There's no area where it's missing a few shades. There's basically something for everyone in this concealer, and I believe they do sales on it. It's really quickly become one of my favorites and I use it a lot. The last concealer I want to mention is the Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer, and I've got two. I've got one beige for the days that I want to have a tiny bit more of a brightened under eye look, and then I've got warm sand for the days where I don't want to wear foundation and I just want a tiny bit of concealer to cover up my dark circles. So that one's a tiny bit darker and a bit warmer, so it's going to cover up everything. This one is going to brighten everything. There's one in the middle called Sand, but I feel like it's a bit too neutral for my skin tone, so I've gone for the ones which have a bit more of a golden undertone. This one is highly comparable to the MAC concealer. The biggest difference is the way that you apply the concealer. It's a doe foot applicator, which makes it so much easier to apply. It's definitely full coverage. There's a lot of pigment in here, just like the other concealers that I love. This one also has the hydration. I used to like the Tarte Shape Tape, but not too much of it because it's quite drying. This one is like Tarte Shape Tape, but it's got that hydration in there. I think it's got some coconut stuff in here as well, like it does in the foundation. It's It's just so good. It looks beautiful under the eyes. It doesn't look too heavy. You don't need to apply too much to get a good coverage. Even if you want to go in with a second layer, it doesn't cake up like some concealers might do. But yeah, I highly recommend this one as well. Next, powders. The first one I'm going to talk about is the MAC Mineralized Powder. I use this thing every damn day. In all my videos I use it. It's just a really nice finely milled powder that doesn't look too heavy. I can pack it on and give a fuller coverage, or I can just dust it on and make my look not too oily looking. It's just such a nice powder. It's got a skin-like finish to it. It's kind of like a dewy kind of powder, if that makes sense. But yeah, I love this stuff. It's so good, and the color range is so good as well. Well, matte, so you'd expect it to have a good color range. But yeah, I've recommended this to so many people, and I've heard nothing but good feedback from all of them. Another powder that I tend to use more under the eyes is the MAC Soft Focus. This is a yellow peachy kind of base powder, and this basically brightens and corrects the under eyes a tiny bit more than when you just put concealer in, and it's so finely milled that it doesn't look cakey when you apply it on top of concealer. It's just such a nice powder. I've been using this one for years. It's been a favorite of mine for years. I think this one is like the 4th one I've been through. It's just so good, and you can see like it's got a little dent in there, so you can tell that I really love it. I keep one in my kit as well because it's just that good. This is the Pro one for the pans if you want to depot it, but they do have a nice little, almost like a blush compact kind of thing for those who want to keep it for personal use. And when I've done my makeup, I will go back in with the Soft Focus just under my eyes and in the highlight points of my face, and it just gives it a really nice and brightened kind of healthy glow from within. Another one which has been a favorite of mine last year, which I bought last year as well, is the Sephora Micro Smooth Bake Base Compact. I bought this because Alyssa Ashley raved about it in one of her many of her tutorials, and I was just like, her skin looks really good, so I went and purchased one. This one I find is slightly a bit too deep for my skin tone, so I use it in my bronzer areas. I can't use it all over my face like the MAC Mineralized one, but for every day when I want a natural bronze look before I just apply bronzer, I'll go in with this and I'll just buff it into those areas, and it will give my skin a really nice bronzy glow, but not like a bronze glow, almost like a naturally sculpted glow. Does that make sense? It's just such a nice powder. If you can get your hands on it and try it, I would definitely tell you to do that. It's such a nice texture. Obviously you're not gonna be able to see it because it's my skin color. Next, blush. I think blush is one of my favorite things to use, and I have so many. I've got liquid blushes, I've got powder blushes, and then sometimes I mix some of my powder with my water balm and I'll create my own blush formula, just so that in photo shoots and stuff it looks really nice and natural. For day-to-day wear, especially in the Philippines where it's hot, I like to use a powder blush, and I've got a few favorites, 3 in particular. One neutral. This neutrally toned bronzy brownie kind of color. It's got a tiny bit of pink in there, tiny bit of peach in there. It goes with anything. This is Coppertone by MAC. It's so good. Like, it's such a pretty color. I know it looks really boring in the pan. I'm wearing it on my cheeks today with a tiny bit of something else, which I'll mention next. I use this all over my cheeks. Gives me a really nice and natural looking blush. The pink blush that I generally use for day to day is the L'Oreal Le Blush in Rosewood. This is such a pretty color. I'm just surprised at how much I really like this, because there's nothing special about what it looks like in the pan. It's just a standard pink blush, but there's a tiny bit of peach in there which makes it look really pretty. This is the one I have just on the apples of my cheek on top of Coppertone. This is the color that my cheeks naturally flush when I'm working out or when I'm really like hot. This is the color that I turn, so this gives me a really nice natural look, and it's got a tiny bit of shimmer in there. Not too much, it's just enough to give you a glow rather than it looking like a flat matte blush. And this is drugstore, so really good prices. I think drugstore blushes are really good. I've got another one here which I'm going to talk about. This one is, surprise, Luminoso by Milani. This is such a nice blush on my skin tone. It's a corally color. It's a baked formula, so it's got that kind of shimmer in it. It's not so much where it looks glittery. It just gives a really nice sheen to your cheek. When I wear this, I don't really wear a highlighter because it's already got that natural glow in there. Sometimes I do, but more often than not I don't. I only really wear this day to day when I'm doing errands or when I'm going out for like a nice lunch or a nice dinner. I try not to use use this too much in photos because I noticed that, especially on the apples of the cheek, it can make you shine a bit too much if you use too much of it. It almost makes you look a tiny bit sweaty. I personally like that kind of yoga glow look, but if you don't, then just be aware when you're using this and you're having pictures taken of you, you're going to look a tiny bit more dewy than you naturally do look. I got a tiny bit of a pearlescent-y, goldy kind of shift to it, so when you turn your head, it just catches the light really nicely. Like I said, you don't always need highlighter with this one. Next, I'm going to talk about bronzer. This is probably one of my favorite things to put on my face, and I wasn't this obsessed with it a few years ago, but last year I have been so obsessed with bronzers. My collection has gone that's where my money's going, mum. I'm going to start with my cream bronzers because I've really enjoyed using cream bronzers this year. And if you've followed me for a while, you know that my favorite one is Chanel. This is a beautiful bronzer. It looks a bit gross right now. There's a huge dent in it, so you can see how much I use this. But this gives your skin a really nice glow. Like, I'm not kidding. I look like J-Lo when I wear this. This is such a pretty bronzer, especially for someone of my skin tone. It doesn't look like it's that dark and it won't give you that much of an effect, but it gives you a really nice tan kind of look, like you've been on holiday. And the formula is really nice. It's not too dewy and it's not too matte. It just gives you a really nice natural, I've just been on holiday kind of look. I love this stuff. The only negative about this is one, there's two negatives. One is the price, and two is it's so bulky. I don't really like taking it away with me when I go traveling. So I bought another thing which I think is kind of similar to this, which is more travel friendly, but this one nevertheless is beautiful. So if you've been looking at this, or if you are a bronzer lover like I am, I'd highly recommend checking this out. Another cream kind of bronzer that I enjoy using is Smashbox Step by Step Contour Stick in bronze. Now this comes in a pack of 3. There is a bronze, a contour and a highlight shade. I use the bronze and the contour quite a lot. I don't use the highlight that often, but I really enjoy using this bronze. It's so easy to blend out, just like the Chanel one. I take this when I go abroad because it's just a pencil, so you can just apply it in all your bronze areas and then blend it out, and it looks so pretty. It gives so much dimension to your face as well. You've probably seen me apply this one along with the contour one, and I put them together because it gives a really nice bronze look, but then the contour comes in with a little bit of shadow and it just looks so good. If you've been eyeing this up, go check it out and give it a go. Next, contour. So last year I wasn't that much into contouring, but when I did contour, especially cream contour, I used the Smashbox Step by Step Contour Stick in contour, and this, just like the bronzer, it's really easy to use. It's so travel friendly and it's just such a nice color as well. It's cool enough to give you a contoured look, but it's not so cool that it looks really dirty on the skin. It's just such a nice consistency. Both of them, the bronzer and the contour, is such a nice consistency. Really easy to blend out. Makes your cheeks look chiseled. If I ever want to contour with a cream, I always use this one. There's nothing else that I use personally. In my kit, yes, there are a few things which I use, but personal use, I always use this one. Again, I haven't contoured so much this year, but if I did want to go in with a powder contour, I would be using the Pixi by Becca Natural Contour Powder, and this color is incredible. I feel like this is similar to the Kevyn Aucoin Medium Sculpting Powder. It's just such a nice color for sculpting my cheekbones. It's not too dark where it's going to make me look ashy, but it's got enough cool tones in there to give me a really nice chiseled cheekbone. If I'm going to contour with a powder, I am going in with this one because it's just so good. I love Pixi as a brand. I love their skincare. It's so affordable. Their makeup is really nice. I used to use those eyeliners all the time. I don't know what happened to those actually. I'm gonna see if I can pick some of those up because I really enjoyed using those. But back to the discussion. This contour powder is divine, darling. Wow, I feel like I've been talking so much. What's next? Okay, highlight. So, highlight. Cream highlights. Let's start with that because I've been really enjoying using this by Becca. It is the Shimmering Skin Perfector in the color Opal. This looks beautiful on top of your cheekbone. There's just nothing like it. It just melts right into your skin and it just gives you that really nice glow from within that some powder highlighters don't give you. There's just something so unique about it as well. I can't put my finger on it. It works on so many skin tones and it doesn't look ashy on my skin, which I thought it would look, which is why I didn't buy it for a really long long time. I saw a lot of people had mixed this with their foundation and just applied it all over their face to give a really nice like dewy foundation look, and I tried that once and it gave me kind of like a grey cast to my foundation, so I never did it again. But as a highlighter on top of the cheekbones, on the forehead, everywhere in your highlight zones, this looks so delicious. I actually bought the mini one. I think it was Glow on the Go kit. It has a really small, almost like a lip gloss size of this, and I really loved using that, so I went and got the full size version and I've been loving it since. For powder highlights, I've got quite a selection. So the one that I go for on a day-to-day basis is the one from Collection. It's called the Bronze Glow Mosaic Powder in No. 1 Sunkissed. It's just such a nice subtle highlight. I actually just dust it all over my highlight zone, like a bronzer topper kind of thing, which I think is what this is meant to be for people with fair skin. But for people of my skin tone, you can use it more on the tops of your cheekbones and just lightly dust it everywhere, and it gives you a really nice, beautiful glow from within. It doesn't look too highlighted, so if you want to use something which is not really such a power highlight, but you want your skin to look like it's really nicely glowing, I would definitely look at this. Another one that I've been loving using, particularly off camera, because I don't like to use things that are sold out or collaborations unless they are still available on camera, is the Dose of Colours Desi and Katie Mirror May. This is such a nice colour as a highlight. It's almost champagne-y, comes across a tiny bit goldy. It's got a really nice shift to it when I apply it. This looks so wet on the skin. It doesn't even look like a powder highlight. It looks like a liquid highlight, and it's just so beautiful. I use it all the time, especially when I'm going out. I just want to look a tiny bit highlighted. I don't use this on camera anymore because it's not available, and if they restock it then I will use it in my tutorials, but until then I have really enjoyed using this. I wanted to include it in this video because one, I used it a ton last year, and two, if Dose of Colours come out with another collaboration with this kind of formula, I would highly recommend checking it out because they are so unique and so beautiful. A golden highlight, which I tend to use especially when I'm going away and I want a more golden undertone highlight, I would go with MAC Oh Darling. This is such a staple in my kit. I use this on my client, and then I've got one for me as well. I just love how it looks on my skin tone. It just looks really beautiful. It's more like a champagne-y kind of golden rather than a yellow golden. It just looks really beautiful, and the formula is really nice. If you're looking for a gold highlight, check out MAC Oh Darling. This is another one which has a wet kind of finish to it. It can look a tiny bit glittery, but not like chunky glittery. It just looks really beautiful on your skin. And the last one I want to talk about is one that I use nearly all the time, especially if I want my highlight to stand out from like space. This is the Ofra Rodeo Drive highlighter. I love this stuff. Now I don't go in so heavy like I've seen some people use. They really pack it on. I've actually got it on today. It's almost like a pearly kind of golden look. All the highlighters I've got are really different colors for starters, but this one is so beautiful because you can build it up and you can really lightly dust it on to get that glow from within kind of look. This is such a nice color. This goes everywhere with me. I just love it so much. It's so pigmented, so if you're really heavy-handed then I would be careful with it, but aside from that, it's just such a good product. Next I want to go on to eyebrows. So eyebrows are one of my favorite things to do. I do them every day. I never leave the house without doing my eyebrows, and I used to love the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz. I think last year or the year before I discovered the Precisely My Brow Pencil by Benefit, and this formula just trumps everything else that I've used. So if I want an everyday kind of natural brow kind of look, this is generally what I'm reaching for. Sometimes I will pair this up with the Gimme Brow. If I want a fluffier brow, I'll put this through my brow first and then I'll go in and fill in the sparse areas, but I don't use this every day. I use this practically every day. I thought I liked this one and my Anastasia one equally, but I found more recently that I've been going and looking for this, and when I can't find this, then I'll use the other ones that I have. I also use a NYX one as well, which is nice because it's more of an affordable option, but this one, there's just something almost waxy about the formula that it doesn't look so aggressive in your brows. It just looks really nice. I'm wearing this today on my brows. I've got the combination of the Gimme Brow and this. What's next? Eyeshadows. Eyeshadow palettes have been something that I bought and I get so much use out of, and I just love having the variety, and there's just so much to choose from, but I find myself going back to the same ones over and over again. The first one is probably one of the most obvious ones, and that is Soft Glam by Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is a basic ass neutral warm palette. There's nothing overly special about it, and that's what makes it so amazing, because it's got everything you need in here if you want a warm tone look. It's got some pops of colors. It's got the pinks, it's got this kind of like reddy kind of color here, which you can get a really nice smoky red look with. But these colors, sienna, rustic, cypress umber and mulberry, are ones that I dip into all the time. Also glistening, I use glistening quite a lot on my inner corner, and I really like these rose pink and sultry shadows as well. It's just such a nice palette for your everyday basic look, and it's also something nice to use for evening as well. And not only do I use this palette when I want a nice neutrally warm kind of look, I find myself going to this palette when I don't know what I want to do but I want to look glam or I want to look put together. I always seem to pick up this palette. It's just become a staple in my kit and I just love it so much. The formula is so nice. Anastasia eyeshadows have possibly one of the best formulas that I've ever tried. It's really soft and a tiny bit powdery. If that bothers you, then just be aware of it. It doesn't bother me. It's just quite pigmented, so if you're a newbie at eyeshadows as well, you might find them a tiny bit difficult to blend if you go in really heavy handed. So remember to go light in with these shadows and you can create some really nice looks. I actually used this on my eyes today. I used a mixture of these neutrals and then I went in with rose pink on the inner corner. I've got orange soda all over my lid, blending out into sienna, and then I've gone in with a purple eyeliner today, which you can't really see that much. I just wanted a tiny bit of bloop of a purple to match my nails. It's just such a nice palette. If you're looking for a neutral palette that can go with any look, this is definitely the one that I recommend. Another palette that I've been using so often, mainly because of one of the shades in this palette, is the Color Drain Queen of Hearts palette. I have used Air, Royal Prerogative, Duchess and Dethrone. Dethrone is probably my most used eyeshadow in my entire collection, so you can imagine how often I reach for this palette. These neutral tones are so pretty. The pops of colors are also really nice and it's such a nice formula as well. I get so much use out of this. I know it doesn't look like it. I'm just really careful when it comes to my eyeshadow palettes because I hate it when everything goes everywhere, so I dip into it nicely. This is probably my favorite eyeshadow ever. I just love the way that it looks on my eyes. It gives a really nice natural smoky look. I hate it when clients tell me to give them a natural smoky look, and that's how I'm describing this eyeshadow, but you know what I mean. I love the purples in this as well, and this Royal Highness is such a unique color. It's so pretty. It kind of gives the palette a more kind of cooler edge to it as well, because there are so many warm colors in the palette, and then you've got your purples and you've got this color right here, and it's just so good. Crown looks white, but it actually has a purpley kind of tinge to it, so I do get quite a bit of use out of that one too. It's just such a nice palette to have, and I'm so glad I finally picked it up. If I'm going somewhere and I know I need to look good, I know that I need my makeup to look good as well, I will pick up this palette and I will use Dethrone, and I will just blend out some black eyeliner and make it like slightly smoky. I get so many compliments when I use this eyeshadow palette, and it's just such a good formula, and it shows up really nicely on a deeper skin tones as well. Another palette that I've been using off camera is the one from Mac and Patrick Star collection. This is the Goal Getter. I just love all of these tones, like these nice neutrally warmy browny kind of tones. I love these kind of reddish brown tones as well, and I love gold. So whenever I'm going out and I just want something quick and easy to put on my eyelids, I generally reach for this one. I think you can get all of these shades from MAC as single shadows, but they're so expensive. You might as well go for something like Makeup Geek and get kind of similar quality. There's just such nice colors, and although they don't look it, they are really unique to my collection. I do have the other one as well. This one, I've got this one too, Glam AF, but I find myself going for Goal Getter more just because it's got those really nice reddy brown tones to it and those golden tones to it. I don't know, I really like this one. And then not a palette, but I still use Makeup Geek shadows. I think they're one of the best shadows that I've ever used, quality wise and price wise. I think the Color Drain ones and the Makeup Geek are kind of the same kind of quality. They're both pressed in the same way. They're not as soft as the Anastasia Beverly Hills. I just find that those few shadows that I've mentioned are the ones that I compare everything else to. And then aside from the powder eyeshadows, I love these liquid eyeshadows from Stila, the Magnificent Metals Glitter and Glow liquid eyeshadow. These liquid shadows take your eyeshadow look to another level. Like, you can put just a normal brown on your eye and then you can put one of these on top and it would just look so beautiful. Like, I can't even explain it. There's nothing out there like this. Like, there are liquid eyeshadows, but nothing compares to this formula. It's really pigmented. You can really pack it onto your lid or you can sheer them out. They're just such a nice product to have in your kit if you want to amp up your look, and they're so easy to apply as well. They're just like these small doe foot applicators. You just pop them all over the lid and then you just blend it out with your finger or a brush. It's just so beautiful. I think there are some new ones which have like duochrome. I'm not sure about those yet. I still need to try those because it doesn't really look like my thing, but some of them do look really fun. I quickly want to touch on eyeliners because I am an eyeliner bish. And I use so many in one go. Well, not at the same time, but I have so many on the go at the same time. And I just wanted to share some of my favorites. This is probably the biggest selection aside from lips that I have, but I use so many eyeliners. I'm just going to get them all together now. Okay, I'm just going to start with the Rimmel Exaggerate because if you've seen some of my empties videos, you know that I've been through thousands, almost thousands of these. Been through hundreds of these eyeliners. It's waterproof, it's drugstore, it's affordable, it's so good, it's long lasting. Use them all the damn time. Another one which I love using, and I've probably used it for, not this one, but I've used it for more than like a year or two, is the 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil from Urban Decay in the Colourpop version. This is such a good eyeliner. It stays on all day. It's so smooth and so creamy. You can blend it out to make a smoky eye. You can leave it just in the waterline and it does not budge until you take it off. It's so good. It's so black as well. Most of my eyeliners I've got in black and brown. Just the Urban Decay one I don't have in brown. I will get that one actually. Next I've got the Stila Kajal eyeliner. These eyeliners are just as smooth as the Urban Decay ones. They're so creamy. They're so pigmented. This brown is so brown and this black is so black. I can't even begin to tell you. Look how small this is. This is how much I love it. This is my third one that I've been through as well. I love it that much. It's just so easy to manipulate if you want to do a smoky eye. It stays where you put it. It doesn't move. That is actually a negative about it. So if you make a mistake and you put this on, then Lord help you because you're going to find it damn hard to remove it. But they're just such nice colors as well. I love how smooth and creamy they are. I'm going to show you the black. I don't mess around with my eyeliners. Next in my collection I have the Marc Jacobs eyeliners. They are some of my favourite eyeliners I've ever come across. They're just so smooth and creamy and they're retractable as well. You don't have to worry about sharpening them. They just glide on really nice. They're kind of like a gel kind of formula. This one is standard black one, but it's just such a good formula. But this one in, what's it called? Brown Out. This is such a pretty colour. I've just bought another one from MAC called Teddy, which is similar to this. I have found a new love for brown eyeliners with a tiny bit of shimmer in there, and what that does is you have the depth in the eye from the brown, but then it's got the shimmer, so it kind of opens up the eye as well, and it's just so good. I can't believe I never discovered this before. It's so pretty. And then last but not least are the MAC eye coals. I used to have Smolder, which was the black, and I used that to death. I went through so many of those, and then I just wanted to see what else was on the market, and I came across Stila and Perversion and Marc Jacobs, and they're just as good. So I haven't gone back to it, but I probably will go and pick one up. But this one in Costa Riche is so pretty. It's like a really nice warm brown. It's something different as well because I'm not used to having more warmer colors, lighter colors in my waterline. I really like blacks and deep colors in there, but this is such a pretty color, especially for daytime wear where you've got like a light eye, you just want to have a tiny bit of eyeliner on, you don't want it to be too dark. This is so pretty. I would highly recommend you check this one out because it's not something that I would generally go for, but I really love using this. For gel eyeliner this year, I haven't been using a lot of gel eyeliner this year, but when I do, I go for the Inglot number 77 gel liner. It is just the blackest gel liner that you'll ever come across. It's so good, so long wearing. I don't know where it is right now because there's so much stuff on my table in front of me. I'm losing my mind. If you like gel liners, you'll love that one. And then liquid eyeliners, I've been loving the one from NYX. I think it's called the Ink Pen or something. There's just so much stuff here. I don't know where it is, but the one from NYX, this one, Epic Ink Liner, this is exactly what it says. It's so epic. It's such a dark liner. Like, normally I don't like using liquid eyeliners because I feel like they create a shine to your eye, and then it doesn't look as black in person, but this one does look really black, and it's got really nice bristles, and it kind of comes to a point, so when you want to do a winged liner you get a really nice sharp edge. Like, it's so good. When I want to do wing liners, I generally go in with this to create the flick, and then I'll go in with the number 77 by Inglot to create my line, so I've got a really black eyeliner. For lashes this year, I haven't actually used lashes that often. I've only used it on camera or when I go for events. I used to use it like here and there just for fun, but last year, no. I used to love Demi Wispies so much, but last year I found myself liking Wispies more. They're a tiny bit longer, they're a tiny bit more fluttery. With Demi Wispies, I found that they weren't long enough for me, so when I changed over to Wispies, it just looks so much better on my eyes. I don't mean to say that Demi Wispies are not good. I still love using Demi Wispies, especially on clients who have shorter eyelashes. It looks a tiny bit more natural on them, but for me personally, I've been using Wispies. Today I've got Cocoa lashes in Queen Bee, and this is probably one of my favorite lashes ever. They're so light, but they're so long. It's just so nice. The band is so thin, it's so light, it's not so heavy on the eye. I used to wear Samantha's by Huda Beauty, and then I found the band got a bit thick, and I bought a new batch recently and the band is thinner, so it's not so heavy to use, but they are also my favorites. I also still use those ones. So the three I use are Wispies, Queen Bee by Coco, and Samantha by Huda Beauty. Oh, and the glue I use from House of Lashes. I've been using it for years and years now. I'm really happy with House of Lashes glue. It keeps my tikka on. You'll probably see that in the video, which I will link up here. It's such a strong glue, but it's not irritating at the same time. I've got a black one somewhere, the black glue, but I haven't tried that one. I'll probably try that this year. I'll let you know how it goes. Oh, I forgot to tell you about mascara. One of my favorite mascaras to use ever. Where is it? I'm a mess. One of my favourite mascaras I've used is Rimmel London Scandalised Mascara. I've been using this for so many years. I think they have stopped producing these and started doing another one called Scandalised Reloaded. I feel like they've replaced this one with those ones, and I bought a few of them and I'm going to try them out, but I still have a few of these left in my personal backup collection, which I keep. Probably got about 3 or 4 left, so these are what I've been using all year. I love Rimmel for mascaras. I like the normal ones more than the waterproof ones. The waterproof ones don't lengthen my eyelashes as much as these normal ones do, and I prefer not to use waterproof on day-to-day wear because it's so hard to take off and I don't want to be rubbing my eyes so much. I just want to use something that will open up my eyes in the daytime and then I can just remove it at night. I don't need to worry about having to take oils and take it off. I don't want any of that. I'm going to try the new ones out and see how they are. I'll let you know how it goes, but until then, these are my favourite. When it comes to waterproof mascaras, my favourite is the Too Faced Better Than Husband-Wife Relationship. If you're Indian, you know exactly what I mean. My mother watches these videos, so I can't say the word, but this is the one. It's such a good waterproof mascara. I feel like it separates my lashes and elongates them, unlike some of the other ones that I've tried. I have picked up about 5 or 6 new mascaras on my trip to the UK, which I will be trying out and letting you know how that goes. It's a mix between drugstore and high-end, I think they're mainly drugstore actually. But anyway, I'll let you know how it goes. Last year, I was definitely dipping into this one. Only a few things left to go. Is your tea cold yet? Now lips. This is quite a big category because I use several lip liners and I use a lot of lips. So let's start with the lip liners. You know my favorite one that I use. I've got it on today. This is MAC's or lip liner. It's your standard natural kind of pinky look. It just emulates my lip color so nicely. Well, the bottom lip, because the bottom lip is pink and my top lip is brown. So this makes it look a tiny bit more natural. I can overline my lips because this is the kind of color that you would expect my lips to naturally be. And then 2 other lip liners. The first one is, of course, Pillow Talk by Charlotte Tilbury. I use this all the damn time. This is such a nice kind of almost lighter, nudie, natural look for my skin tone. I can wear this with more of my nude lipsticks. It's such a pretty pinky nude color to wear. Again, I can overline with this because it's not too far from my natural lip color. And then I recently discovered this last year. This is Makeup Forever Aqua Lip Liner in the color 3C. This is such a beautiful nude. It's got a tiny bit of pink, a tiny bit of brown. I've got one of these for my kit as well, and it looks so good on so many skin tones, so versatile. I just love the way this looks. Every time I've recommended it, I've always had good feedback from those people. So yeah, this is the one in 3C. I just tried to swatch these 3 for you, and my swatches look like literal shit on my hand, so we're gonna ignore that and move on. If I'm wearing a red lip, then I will go in with MAC Cherry Lip Liner. It's just a standard bright red lip liner. I just find it works really nicely. It complements my skin tone and it just stops any red lip from bleeding, and it's just such a nice color. For a deeper red, if I want to go in, or even if I want to create an ombre, I will go in with Burgundy from MAC as well. It's just a really nice deep color to use on my skin tone, and I find Burgundy works really nicely with so many skin colors. So for lips, I've got quite a bundle to get through. First, I want to talk about these Huda Beauty liquid matte lipsticks. They're not overly matte like normal liquid lipsticks. I think they've got some oil in them or something. I don't know what's in them, but they give a really nice hydrated matte lip look. The two that I use a lot are Venus and Trophy Wife. They're just so pretty on the lips. Venus is a really nice nude color, and the Trophy Wife is a really nice deep pink color. It just looks so good with almost everything that I wear, and I just love it because it's so long lasting, but it's not drying on the lips. That's one thing I hate about liquid lipsticks, but not these. These are so good. Another liquid lipstick but doesn't look so matte are the Dose of Colors ones. This is the color Truffle. This looks beautiful as a nude lip. I also love the one that Desi and Katie did called My Main. It's here. I've been using this so much off camera, like whenever I go out for dinner, whenever I go out for lunch, whenever I go for a drink. This is such a good nude lip. I prefer nude lips when I go out and I'm eating because it doesn't look like butthole lips at the end of the night, but I love these two colors. Dose of Colors do badass formulas. They're so nice, so comfortable to wear as well, and really pretty on our skin tone, which is a problem when it comes to nude lips because sometimes it can come off too grey or too pink or too light, but these colors give a really nice nude look. Not beige nude, not too brown, not too pinky. They are just such nice colors. They're matte half and half. I can't say enough good things about this lip color. It's kind of like your everyday pinky nude lip for someone of my skin tone. It's got such a nice sheen to it as well. It's an amplified formula from MAC, and they're probably one of my favorite formulas ever. Doesn't dry out the lips. It looks really pretty, kind of glossy, really juicy, really nice. Half and half. If I'm going for a red, I have been really loving using Bang Bang by Smashbox. It's probably one of my favorite reds ever. That's bold because I really like Ruby Woo, and there are so many other reds I like, but I find myself reaching for this one because it's bright, it's fun, it's just like it's such a cool color. This is a liquid lip, but the formula is so thin and it's so pigmented that it doesn't feel like you're wearing a liquid lip. It feels so comfortable to wear, and I've just been really loving this. The one that I use hands down the most all year is the Fenty Gloss Balm. I use this on top of almost everything. It's such a pretty color. Anyone can put this on and they will look like a flipping goddess. I can have no makeup on and I'll put this on and I will feel so beautiful. I can't explain what it is. It just makes me feel so good, and it's such a pretty color. Goes with every skin tone ever. I promise you, I literally look like Rihanna when I'm wearing this. I'm not kidding. I am kidding. I'm kidding. Second to last thing I want to mention are setting sprays. So there are 3 that I love using. The first one I fell in love with towards the end of last year, and I can't stop using that. It is the Milani Make It Last setting spray. It just makes your makeup look so beautiful. It looks so dewy, it looks so fresh and natural. It just makes your makeup combine with your skin so nicely. I don't know what it is about this one. This is probably one of my favorite ones of all time. And then the other ones that I use are the Urban Decay setting spray. Love that one. The pump's broken, so it's really annoying to use it, and I don't use it as often as I normally do, but it's still one of my favorites to use. And then obviously the Tatcha Dewy Skin Mist. I love this. I put this on top of my cheekbone just to give that extra luminosity. It is really expensive, so I try not to use it too much, but it's so beautiful. Lastly, I just wanted to mention 2 brush brands which have really stuck out for me last year. The 2 are Real Techniques, and I love their sponge as well. They're just such soft brushes, really easy to clean, really affordable, and they're just so good. They're just as good as high-end ones. No point wasting your money on high-end brushes. You can just get Real Techniques one. And the other one is Zoeva. I've been using so many Zoeva brushes and they're just so good. Like, they're comparable to high-end ones. They're so soft, there's so much variety. I use them all the time. I got a separate set for my kit because they are that good. Most of my clients always say to me, your brushes are so soft, and I'm like, so either. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. That's all I wanted to talk about. That was a hell of a lot to talk about. I feel like I can't talk anymore today. I'm so glad I finished this before my battery died. So those are my favorites from last year and that I use a lot of. Let me know in the comments down below which products you have really enjoyed using, and I will check those out. I always love finding new products to use. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the notification button, like this video, and I will see you in my next video.